the talk of the town, to say the least. And always curious to see how some of those end up turning out in the long term. But everything changes fast here in block stackers, and Tetrio was no exception.
Except TKI, you can't kill that.
Well, the opener happens fast.
I mean, yeah, like you have to like opener game is completely like trying to nerf opener game is weird. We've seen it happen several times though with Tetris Season 2.
All right, wow, what an incredible start! Both players earning a 15 surge and immediately using it to counter each other.
But I mean, yeah, Shark's gonna take the upper hand on that though.
My goodness! All right.
At least at the start.
Ooh, SC start. Let's see. What's the opportunity? All right, TD for Shark, BT for Fort. All right, and Fort goes for the Trinity Fallout, misdrops the first T-spin. Able to recover, however. And a little bit of a greedy setup on top, is behind in surge counts. Able to still make it work. Shark sends over that surge, but not going to top out FORTISSIM. Garbage was a little bit awkward, but still relatively clean. And Shark not really dealing with too much. So has quite a bit of daylight to just run away with some nice surge play. Oh my goodness, the S spin.
Ooh, look at
forward. What a
that was a beautiful. That was a beautiful continuation to that back-to-back.
Oh, and the C spin setup as well.
Yeah, using the J piece to just continue make a proper wall for the overhang. Good stuff here from FORTISSIM. Really inventive strategies to maintain that back-to-back.
Fort has been doing a very good job of playing insanely clever throughout Season 2, and this set obviously is no exception to that.
Yeah, I think players overall have been playing a lot more creatively, following the... Then again, I think it's mainly because of that all-spin implementation. And look at that, nice DT from FORTISSIM.
I skewer a little bit, but thankfully the spike manages to tank a lot of that back-to-back surge that Shark was going to be sending over. And both players not really exceeding 4 pieces per second at the moment. Okay, surge is used relatively to neutralize once again, but a lot of damage. Oh my goodness, the down stack from Fort getting quad on multiplier to ensure survivability. However, we've got another surge building up quite fast for Shark. Continuing with incredible efficiency. And Fort tanks it all, sends it back as a 10 surge.
24 spike right there from FORTISSIM.
Oh, the miss
Shark is on the ropes.
One attack per piece is not enough to top out FORTISSIM, and that is it for game 2. Early T to start. And looks like we've got STPC on the... Or STPC spin from Shark, STPC from Fort. Going for the all-clear looping into TKI after 5 bags. It looks like Shark doing a phenomenal job with the sidewell. And
that Elvis drop.
Unfortunately, going to cause things to snag on Fort's board. Shark now in the lead by 1 single game. And we are almost identical in the piece sequences. STPC spin once again from Shark. Fort continuing to go with the just general STPC, but is keeping back-to-back and has cleaned things up quite nicely. And the Z-spin double on top of the well as a donation. Back-to-back counters are getting pretty high for both Shark and Fort, but they're identical. Having a little bit of a Mexican standoff with the back-to-back surge counter. Fort is the first to fire. Shark manages to retaliate, and both players accept just a tiny bit of cheese at the bottom. Alright, and Shark with a little bit of center well burst. FORTISSIM's own mini spike going to be able to counter most, if not all of that. Oh, unfortunately, hard dropping the T over in the center for Fort. Shark takes yet another win.
Yeah, Shark really taking a huge advantage right now. Things are looking a little scary.
No early O for Fort, so we will see an MKO option. Working over to that side well. Oh boy, that's a bit of a stack to get through on Fort's end, and unfortunately not able to cycle the pieces fast enough. Shark continuing to get more and more wins. That's 3 straight at the moment. It looks like 4 going to be going to the reliable TKI into SDSD, and it works beautifully within the clean garbage. However, Shark is also able to keep back-to-back.
Both players building up Surge here, kind of at a pretty similar pace, all things considered.
Oh, Shark is the first to fire with a 13 back-to-back. Fort manages to do so a little bit afterwards, and Shark is the one getting hit with the cheese. Oh, and Fort going for the swag tower. Gonna get quite a bit of damage onto Shark's board. Shark does have the clean down stack at the ready, but definitely a little bit shaken up, and that's a lot of clean for Fort. Fort needs to find a way to capitalize on this spot. Shark is trying to get to it, gets the double eyepiece and the counter spike to top out FORTISSIM and keeps this streak going. Another MKO from Fort this round. TD once again from Shark, gets the clean well to work with it. Is playing insanely well. Again, 9 back-to-back from Shark. Works over to the side well. Fortunately, has to pop on defense, but still incredibly efficient from both Shark and FORTISSIM. Oh no!
Ooh. Oh my gosh, FORTISSIM is just taking loss after loss right now.
Right, yeah, Shark is just really trying to run away with things. And again, the TD once again from Shark. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Oh, looking for a proper prop. Unfortunately, not able to find one. And a little bit of that back-to-back pressure from Fort. Doesn't even need to use the Surge. Going to be enough to earn a game. And once again, we've got SDPC. Actually, the double SDPC spin. Shark going to be the first one to pop. Fort has the PC. Is just going to hold on to it for a little bit longer.
I mean, Shark right now has the back-to-back. Oh, and look at that. 13, 14, 15 back-to-back and counting. Still going up.
Shark right now does not feel in a strong enough position to launch the Surge, since Fort does have a potential to get a really strong spike with the clean garbage underneath. Shark
yeah, there's a pretty big potential for downstacking, but there we go. 26 back-to-back Surge.
And Wern's a near 1 APP round out of Shark. 7-2. 5-game difference. Fort once again going for the reliable TKI into STSD. Oh. Okay, there's a bit of T-spin. Okay. Surge advantage right now lies with Shark. Fortunately, going to have to skim through at around 12, but most of that is getting sent as clean to Fort. And just digging through the last bits of cheese at the bottom of the board at the moment. Shark right now working with a 7-2.
Oh, and look at that downstack spike.
Yeah, very nicely timed eyepieces in the queue. And there's a
and yeah, FORTISSIM able to retaliate with those eyepieces. My goodness.
Well, but Shark manages to find a way out. We do have a misdrop though, which could make things even more dire for Shark.
Shark seems to have sorted it out, though.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it gets all the way back down. And Fort trying to keep back-to-back off of this awkward stack.
Ooh, interesting find there from Shark.
And has a little bit of 9-0 going at the moment. Debating about trying to get a kite in. No, just goes for the regular spike in the center. And what a very strong well conversion. It's just blitzing out this center well. Fort is having to rely on speed and strong, efficient plays in order to stay alive. Uses the Surge on defense to keep themselves from topping out. And works over to a 2-7 of their own. A little misdrop over the center of the well.
Shark's doing great.
Oh, Fort gonna have to break that back-to-back surge. Shark tries to send it over, but Fort has enough to send back. And we're about 2.5 minutes in. And still not really any clear signs of either player getting fatigued. Well, that downstack's getting a little bit risky. Oh boy, Shark able to cycle through to the eyepiece. Manages to stay clean. Fort has to work over a little bit with a sidewell. Working it to a 7-2. Shark still with a lot of cheese on the board.
Yeah, Shark has a lot of downstacking to do here.
Oh, but gets a quad on the downstack.
Actually doing a pretty good job of making his way down.
My goodness, and gets through. Oh no! Shark has to bail on that T-spin setup, and because that Z was not placed in time, that's a really bad spot for that misdrop to happen. Well, we are almost.
Picking up that 3.5 minutes for a Tetrio round. My goodness, Shark is really picking up the speed now. Starting to, but FORTISSIM, picking up the pressure.
Yeah, I think most of these we're already getting a damage buff. So I think all these T-spins and things probably going to be setting another extra line.
You can see the gravity increase as well. Like, players are getting less and less time to deal with stuff, especially towards the top.
Oh, Shark needs to be careful, though. Approaching the top of that board quite quickly. Fort right now has the almost 10 back-to-back. Decides to send it on its own, but it gets accepted, and it's going to be basically entirely clean to Shark.
Yeah, Shark's speed right now is really good, but FORTISSIM, kind of.
Oh boy!
Like make it. Yeah, oh my goodness, look at that retaliation.
And almost 1,000 pieces later from both players, and
seriously, that was one long round.
Yeah, Fort picks up a third win with 4:16. I think was the time duration.
Something like that. That was long. That was a long round. It's weird saying that, like, being, like, when you've watched so many, like, rounds of Tetris Effect Connected.
Well, I mean, if you don't think, that's a long set, I encourage you to watch a musical piece that's exactly, 4 minutes and 33 seconds long. I'll guarantee you'll think it's a pretty long time.
I think I've told you this before, but I've already written, for one of my classes, I wrote an essay on that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, like I'm very familiar with that work, and we're not gonna get into that discussion.
Yeah, press 1 in chat if you're familiar with what the reference is.
It's such a I gotta say right now, that's like tip of the iceberg music reference. Like like if you get that, you're not special. I'm sorry.
But it's a funny piece. It's a funny music thing.
Yeah, it's as much of a joke as John Cage is.
Okay, well, you didn't have to make it a very explicit. Okay, back to the mat. Well, we're already about 30% of the way there, almost a minute and a half in. Z-spin there from Fort. Fort's trying to find a way to get to the clean transition over, not quite able to, so just going to get as much damage out of the surge as possible beforehand. And we are going to have a real battle of endurance between Shark and Fort this round. Never mind. Okay, no, I stand affirmative. Okay. Yeah, Fort.
Well, yeah, Fort is kind of on the back foot here. But starting to, pick up speed. Kind of familiar to what we've seen last round. It is like Shark has the early advantage, FORTISSIM plays a bit on the back foot, and then there's quite a bit of back and forth, causing Shark to play a bit defensively. Shark having the speed advantage, FORTISSIM having that efficiency. Ooh, and FORTISSIM's gonna push through once again.
Now a 2-16 round, so this, by nature of patterns, we should see a 16-second round from either Fort or Shark. Let's take a look.
Well, you got 11 seconds to be correct.
Well, let's, I don't think I've ever tried to predict the duration of a set like this before. Don't, okay. Well,
Time's up.
All right. Good to know we didn't have too much.
Oh, you might have been close though.
Oh, why was I close?
You were off by 9 seconds. Wow.
Well, I mean the percentage error is pretty high, but given that it was under 30 comparatively is
Okay, don't use percentage error there. It's like this is kind of it's a whole term. It's like terms of scale. Like you were close.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it would have been funny if this one took even less time.
Well, I mean, we had a 15 surge from FORTISSIM, which is almost 16.
I mean, it was really shaping, like Shark was really shaping up the top out there, but you know, finding a good out. So we're not gonna be done just yet.
All right, there we go.
And look at that spike.
Yeah, it involves the 8 surge from Fort, which is almost 15. Now I'm building up surge using the 180 T-spin. Gonna have to break surge at 4, unfortunately, and Shark.
Look at that. Shark taking that win in under a minute.
Yeah, 48 seconds, which is not almost 15, but is arbitrarily closer than 4 minutes.
Now the rounds are going to start getting longer and longer. We're going to have this sort of like really weird looking like sine function, I guess.
I was going to say, is it a sinusoidal distribution, or that's not the right term, is it? It's something around there.
I don't know. I don't know the last time I took a math class.
I got one tomorrow. Want to join me?
No.
All right, fair enough. All right, Fort's got a very nice center well and a beautiful transition over to the side, potentially. It has to break back-to-back, unfortunately.
Ooh, things are looking... Oh, that's looking real rough for Fort's Shark.
It has a 15
two like names that start with F, and I'm like starting to like mix them up because of the association my brain does to like autocorrect a certain someone's name here.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you could also just do Shark and well, I guess Vorka is also Silly Shark, so that doesn't really help in this case. But I mean, I guess if you wanted to. Oh wow, this is a pretty hefty back-to-back advantage right now for Shark. 19-20. Still going through. It's a sidewell, but it's working just incredibly well. Look, still 1 attack per piece with a sidewell. Something that is very
stacking and just, oh my god, just sends it. And that's okay. Yeah, that was a pretty strong attack right off the bat to finish it off. Very well done.
And 35 spike for the 36-second mark of the match. And this is 9-6, 3-point advantage for Shark. Only needs 2 more. Both players going for spin. Hefty spike, but again, the Q is the same, so Fort's going to be able to get that exact same spot off.
I would just love to see like one of these days like a match where two players just play the exact same for the entire thing, just kind of like one of those like joke fighting, one of those joke fighting game rounds.
Well, I forget what event it was. I know there was one in the past, back when like Pastor was a lot more prevalent. There was a set with a stick spin where both players sent each other a lethal spike, and they both had the exact same misdrop, so it just became stalling to not die from the misdrop. I don't know if we'll ever get a moment like that again with Season 2 and the fact that like Pastor isn't really a thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Good moments in Tetrio history.
The collective community like having a sigh of relief as their worst enemy and like biggest.
Well, I don't know. In Garbo's eyes, that might not be the case anymore. Well, we'll take a look.
Garbo's gonna be the evil that re-implements pass-through. I see. Anyways, we're on match point, by the way. Shark
Yeah, Fort needs to win 5 in a row in order to bring this back. Oh no, and the misdrop.
No, with that misdrop's gonna be the nail in the coffin almost.
No,
Nope,
well,
not quite. Not quite. It looks like there are a few nails missing.
I see you snuck in the almost there when you saw that.
Yeah, no, looks like we were missing a few nails. We have to go to the hardware store now.
Oh boy. This is getting.
And looks like Shark's gonna just take an express trip, you know, rush delivery.
Same day shipping for Shark, and that is going to be 11-6, and a very good performance. Honestly, looked very close on paper between the two, but quite a solid run within the actual, bracket itself. I feel like that opening run that Shark had initially was definitely a very important part of winning that set, because it definitely more back and forth towards the end.